Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime with our salary caps on, Nate Green. You like that? You see what I did there?
Yeah, that's good. I'm doing well, Jared. I mean, this is a crazy winter meetings. It's been a really fun week. I think that everyone always talks about, MLB compared to the NFL and the NBA, how fast some of those deals get done and how the MLB is very slow in their offseason. I think, it's fun to see the MLB get going and have a week like this where it's like all these big name guys are going and it's a lot of deals in very short amount of time. It's fun.
Yes. Oh, I like it. I definitely wish the whole off season was like this, but I do like since you're going to bring that up. I like the way the baseball off season is. I really do. I think like NFL, the NBA, they just start throwing money in different places, and I don't like that. I think the MLB is a little more strategic with stuff, and it gives you more time to think about it. Because like today, I want Dansby Swanson. Tomorrow, I might want Fernando Tatis, or I might want somebody else. You get what I'm saying? Like, it gives you options, time to think about it. Everything happens at the beginning, and it's like, well, you know, this, and it gives you get options. And yeah, I like the way the Angels, but I like the way baseball offseason is.
Yeah.
More
And it
so.
works for everyone too. It gives them like an opportunity. Like if I want to make a trade, I can make a trade and really get the best value out of a guy instead of like, hey, I've got to get this done because I'm signing this guy and this guy needs to be out the door within, you know, 2 minutes of this signing or whatever. So I really like how this works and but I do love this week because you get a lot to talk about and a lot of guys sign, all these agents doing a great job. So yeah, it's been awesome.
He had a lot of stuff. He had draft, which I think we're going to try to cover. Rule 5 draft. I mean, stories always coming out. You had huge signings this week, and I mean, let's just jump right into it. I mean, we're recording this, what, an hour or so after the Mets went out and spent another $30 million this year,
Yep.
technically, and
Yep.
then obviously they'll spend more on Nemo down the road, but they signed two more players. I think their salary, the tax is, I don't even know what's called, CBO, whatever you want to call it. It's
CBA.
getting close to their AAV is getting close to 320, probably 330 million now, if
I
I'm
know
not
he passed
mistaken.
the Steve Cohen tax. Like that was the joke of it. They called it the Steve Cohen tax if you got to 90%, and he has passed that now. So
It's
it's
unbelievable.
interesting on how much money he's willing to spend to win. And I mean, that's something you want out of an owner, but like it's kind of getting laughable where it's like, okay, if you can't win with what you've spent, then like you need to reevaluate the way you do things.
Does it make it less fun if the Mets win this year? Like, that's kind of a stupid question. Like, you want to
No,
go win a World Series and everything, but I mean, if the Mets go out and spend $500 million to build a team and they make it to the World Series, like, I don't know.
does it make it less fun when Alabama wins it in football? Like no,
It did
because
after they won their what, fourth, fifth
I don't
title.
think it makes it less fun because everyone's going to want to give their ace to the Mets. Like any chance they get to face whoever it is best guy, like the Mets are going to have to face everyone's best guy because it's going to be one of those things where it's like we want to beat the Mets just because we know how much money they spend and we want to make sure they don't win. So no, I think it makes it more fun because then everyone's got that big target on the Mets back and you know those teams don't traditionally win either, which is awesome. Like that just shows how hard it is to win because the teams who spend the most money don't always win. Just ask the Dodgers.
Yeah, and good for Billy. I love Billy. I've always been a Billy supporter. I think everybody that shows knows. You know, tip the cap to Billy Epler and staff over there. What they have going on, well deserved. Well deserved. And it definitely feels like. No, I think we can end Mets talk
Yeah,
right now. It definitely feels like we might be seeing this in the very near future with the Angels, but we will see, of course, as time goes on and see what exactly happens there with the Angels sale. So on to more news. I asked this on Twitter. I'll ask you here. It's an interesting talking point. I don't think it happens, but it's still fun to talk about it because you never know what's going to happen. Padres went out and signed a shortstop. Another one, by the way. They have, in a sense, a surplus of shortstops. Nothing crazy. You can put Tatis somewhere else, but the Tatis contract becomes very, very interesting because you cannot lose Juan Soto, especially after the package that you gave up. You have to go extend him, I think. So I don't know if they have enough. would you ever go take on Fernando Tatis's contract? Because I personally don't think it would take all that much. It's not going to take an arm and a leg. It's not going to be this the Juan Soto the trade package or anything like that. I think that it's a fairly manageable package. I don't think it happens, but it's always fun to talk about. So, would you take on the Fernando Tatis contract and put him at shortstop for the Angels?
The worst part about this is I don't think he's that good of a shortstop.
Me neither,
Um,
but
that's the funny thing. Like that's why the Padres went out and did this because he was not very good defensively, and they're like, you know what? We keep you on the field, we keep you healthy. If you play a corner outfield spot, it makes us better. If Soto plays left field, it makes us better if you play right field. So that is the biggest problem I have with the Tatis trade would be like can he actually play shortstop every day? I don't know. Like he's not healthy, and he led Major League Baseball in errors, and he played like 130 games. It was a rough year.
you're bringing in
Um,
errors on me. No
oh,
UZR,
absolutely.
no
No,
defensive run
no,
save. No, you're just going to go
no,
straight to errors.
because the
Hmm.
amount of errors were so absurd, and they weren't like ground balls at him that he missed, like that he didn't field. It was all throwing errors. Like it was throwing over the first baseman's head, one hop in the first baseman, like all those kind of errors. And those errors are like actual errors. It's not like oh he booted a ball going up the middle, and maybe one shortstop in the league makes that play. Like no, these were very very easy plays for him to make. So that's my biggest concern. I think it costs more than you think. I know we've kind of talked about this. I think the Padres are going to want somebody. They're going to want a starting pitcher in return that can pitch this year. They're going to want a. They're going to want one or two young pieces, and then they might even ask for like a Joe Adell, and they could use another outfielder. They could use another DH type of guy, and Joe Adell would kind of fit that mold. They're going to want like a Suarez. I, I think Detmers or Sandoval would be off the table if you're talking to Perry, but maybe they could convince a Suarez, Adele, Errol Vera, and someone else type of package, which I think is a lot when you're trying to build the depth that we are. Like, but the one thing that I like about the trade is Fernando Tatis right now, you know what his value is. It's $24 million, which if he becomes a free agent in 3 years, which his contract is for 12 more years or something like that. So he won't become a free agent. But if he did, he's getting $35 million. So his contract right now is a bargain. So that is the one nice thing about it is the bargain with it. But can he play shortstop? I know he thinks he can. I know he wants to, but does he do more harm than good for you playing shortstop is the only thing that I really would think long and hard about before making that move.
So then Mike Trout's replacement in center field. That's going to piss some people off that I just said that, but you got to start possibly thinking about it. Maybe moving Trout to right field at some point. I know it's maybe a year, 2, 3 years down the road, but it'll happen eventually. It's going to happen,
It
and
will,
it makes him more valuable. I know we've talked about this before, so he
yeah,
could be Trout's
but
replacement in center field.
but I don't know if that's really the way I want to go about things right now. Like the biggest need is shortstop. Like there's no reason to trade for a guy who's $24 million going to play shortstop and then be like, like he's probably not a shortstop. We're gonna move him. It's like he's gonna do the same thing that he's doing to San Diego right now, where it's like, I don't want to play the outfield. I am a shortstop. My dad was a shortstop. I want to play shortstop. All these things. Um, so yeah, that's going to be the issue of like even trying to move him to the outfield. Is like you could have a very angry guy in the clubhouse and talking with everyone saying I'm a shortstop and I should be playing shortstop. So that's the only issue I have with it. Is can he actually play the position good enough to benefit the Angels? Because with the way the shift and everything's working right now, you've got to be able to pick it. You've got to be able to play defense. We know he'll put up a good WRC plus, but like you need a shortstop. Like the Angels desperately need a shortstop. We cannot go into the year with David Fletcher, Gio Urshela, and hope Levon Soto is what he was the last 2.5 weeks. Like we've seen enough of Levon Soto that like even his hard contact rate was one of the lowest in of on the team during his period. Like, yeah, he was hitting really good. His average was great, but like his hard contact rate was not good. His average exit velo was not great. There are things that that scream regression with the way that he hit. And I hope he plays well. I hope that if he gets the chance to play, that he plays out of his mind. But the numbers would tell you that he's not going to play even close to where he was for that 2.5 weeks that he was in the big leagues, 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, hypothetical, I don't think San Diego's going out actively shopping Fernando Tatis Jr., but weirder things have definitely happened. You never know down the road either what happens if they end up wanting to sign Juan Soto. So it could definitely be an option, to be honest. And I don't think it would cost all that much at the moment. I think down the road probably, but at the moment, there's a lot of question marks with Tatis. This brings up more interesting questions. We saw Bogarts get the big deal in San Diego. We already talked about that, 11 for 275, I think, 25 a year. More years than we were expecting, same AAV-ish that you were expecting. I thought he was going to get a little bit more closer to that $30 million range. We saw Turner get, 27.5, I think, a year.
28.5, I think.
Yep, 28.5, something like that. He got under what we thought he was going to get as well. So yes, this screams, Angels watch out in this market. However, is it fair to say that this might actually help out the Angels a little bit when you're looking at AAV? I mean, and even keeping Shohei Ohtani too, if that's what everybody wants. I don't know what the plan is with new ownership or anything like that. And I know you and I don't think that it is possible to build a team around Ohtani. I think we do think it's possible to win with Ohtani, but we don't think it's possible to build a team around Ohtani. Again, I'm kind of skirting around this question here. Do you think the Angels start looking at, the trade market? This obviously helps out the Angels. There's so many things that come out of these two massive yet, really good deals for the Angels, I think.
So to start with the Shohei Ohtani thing, this does not help Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani's market was set by Aaron Judge, getting $40 million a year. So that's going to be the
yes
bare minimum. And looking at what DeGrom has got and looking at what Verlander has got, that's going to put Shohei in that 45 to 50 mil a year range. So I don't think the shortstop have any correlation on Shohei Ohtani. But what I do think is we're seeing years become more valuable than AAV, which I think is really, really helpful for the Angels. I don't think Dansby Swanson's the guy to go out and give an 8 to 9, 10-year deal to. I do think Carlos Correa is the guy to give 8, 9, 10-year deal to. Honestly, if Carlos Correa would do it right now, I'd give him 10 for 300. I know that scares the crap out of Angel fans because the 10 for 300 is the Albert Pujols deal, but he's almost 4 years younger than Albert Pujols was when Albert Pujols signed the deal. That means go ahead.
No, I was going to say, keep going. I would say we'll play a game after this. I want to see how I want to see something.
I was just going to say, Carlos Correa, he's younger. He plays a position where you have to be more athletic. He plays a position, a more premium position, and it's easier to move him around the diamond. Like if he gets a little bit slower, he can move to third base when Rendon's done. He can move to first base possibly. He can move, there are plenty of places for him to move. Like he might even be able to move to a corner outfield spot because of his size. He's 6'5" or 6'4". So with him, with his age, he's the one guy that I would give a long-term contract to. I think the Xander Bogaerts signing was very irresponsible. We've already seen that deal. Like we saw it with Albert Pujols, 31-year-old getting that kind of money that many years. It does not work out. Robinson Cano, he was also around that age. He also got a big contract. I think it was 10 for 300 as well. We've seen that happen, and it's a recipe for disaster. I think the Padres are going to be great for 2 years, and then after that, it's going to be very tough for them to be competitive. The only thing that could help them is if Machado does leave. That would be the only thing that helps them because he can opt out, and that would help them with the Soto signing, and it would also be able to move Xander to third base. But right now, with where they're at, it's going to be really hard to move Xander. That's the one thing that I like about Correa. Correa is going to be able to play shortstop until he's 34, 35 years old, I think. And by that time, Rendon will be gone. He'll be able to move to third, and he might even be able to help a guy like Neto or Guzman or whoever the next shortstop is, Kyron, whatever it is. But I just think that if Correa would take 10 for 300 right now, I would not even hesitate in getting that deal done. That would be done ASAP. I think it could be closer to 350, but if it's anywhere between 300 and 350, like I'm probably doing it for Carlos Correa. And the 10 years does not scare me because the age is, he's young enough where it's not really going to be an issue. He's not playing until he's 41 years old, um, at least in this contract. So I really would be pushing hard towards trying to give him more years and give the AAV a little bit further down rather than giving Swanson more years and hoping the AAV stays around that 20 to 25 range, because I think he's going to try and be like, well, Xander got that much, I deserve that much.
What's your max on Carlos Correa that you'd go? Are you saying 10 for 350? Like AAV wise, let's say that 35 years the max.
35 is the max I'd go.
You go.
I would not go. I would not go over 35 for the guy. We just saw Judge get 40, which is great for Aaron Judge, but I don't know if that's even. That's a lot of money, man.
10 for 350, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I would do that in a heartbeat. I think that's the furthest I would go. If he wanted to
would you go 11 for 385?
I was gonna say if he wanted to go that extra year, I'd probably cut it down from 35 to like 33 a year, just because I could.
Would you go 12 for 420? Those that are who doing the math, that is 35 a year for 12
I know.
years.
Again, if I'm doing the 12, which gets him to 40 years old, I think I'm doing the same thing that I think San Diego did with Sander, is giving him, if I'm giving him 12, I'm getting him down to 30 a year.
Would you give him 30? Okay, then you give him 12. You give him that 12 for 30 a year. Would you give him 13 for 390, which is 13 for 30 a year?
I'm staying at 12. 12's the furthest I'd go. I'd keep him 40 years old. And he's got a great birthday. Like, it's September, I believe. So it's like he's barely turning 40 into that contract, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, or he's barely turning 41. Like it's basically his age 40 years. So, I'm sticking at 12. That's the furthest I would go. And if it's 10 years and I have to go to 35, I will. But the more years I add on after 10, the less I'm going to give him.
I'm willing to go 12 for 420 for Carlos Correa. That's how bad I want a shortstop. I'm not going to lie to you. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean it's going to happen, or that it will happen. I'm still going to stick with Dansby. I think that I've always been somebody that you have those superstar guys. Dansby's not a superstar, never has been, never will be. He kind of lines up with what the Angels are really truly looking for. I think, right? Is that playmaker, that guy who plays a role and knows his role. It's not to go out there and hit 40 home runs a year. It's not to go out there and win a platinum glove or anything like that. It's to go out there and be a shortstop and be a above average league shortstop, a top 10 shortstop in the league. Is that fair to say? Like, I think that's kind of what the Angels have really been missing. I think that's what Perry and staff have really been hinting on, is it's not necessarily building at the top. Like, yes, you can go get Carlos Correa, and I'm not going to say no to that by any means. Like, more power to you. If you want to go do what the Mets do and go sign this guy and build a super team, I'm all for it. Keep on producing down in the minors, because you never know what's going to happen. The Angels thought they had a super team back in 2012, and now we're here again. But I just think that Dansby fits this mold a little bit better. It's making the middle better and bringing that floor up a little bit, rather than bringing the ceiling even higher. So I'm not going to say no. This might sound stupid. I'm not going to say no to Carlos Correa if the Angels sign and be like, oh, this wasn't the right guy by any means, because we know, either one of these guys I think is the right guy. It's just what you want to go do. Do you want to go spend 20 to 25 a year, and go get a guy who knows his role and who's going to be, he's not going to be anything special. He's going to be an above average league player, and he's going to be a middle of the order bat, maybe probably a leadoff guy, I'd say, who's going to be a top 10 shortstop every year? Or do you want to go get one of the best shortstops in baseball every year? So, and I don't think I'd be shocked if they go the trade deadline route. trade route, should I say, not deadline, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, my one question is, will he be a top 10 shortstop? Like that's been one of the reasons why I'm not a huge Swanson fan. Like, yeah, you'd like him to be in that top 10, especially if you're giving him 20 to 25. Like I'm counting right now, and I've got 7 for sure that are better than him, and then I've got 3 that are in that same range as him, honestly. Like you have Correa, Seager, Lindor, Turner, Xander, Pena, and Bichette.
Yeah, I don't know
Right.
if I give you Pena because of what he did, but 1-year wonder type of thing. I know that
That's fine,
Swanson's coming
but
off that too, but
Swanson's a career 250 hitter with really a 15 home run guy.
this
Pena
just kind of proves the point of why the Angels need a shortstop, though. I mean, you can point out Bobby Witt, you can point out Gunnar Henderson, like all these,
yeah.
like
I don't
every
even
team
I
has a
don't even
shortstop.
have Gunnar Henderson on here on my list, and you don't even have
Bish,
Volpe or
Bichette, Volpe, yeah, all these kids that are
Bo's
going
on
to be coming up.
here. Yeah, but so that's my thing is like then you start getting into the Javier Baez area. Then you start getting into the
JP Crawford type of guy. I mean, not that Crawford's was great,
Crawford's
but
probably bottom half of that. Like honestly, so
yeah, are you counting
that
Simeon?
I don't count Simeon because he won't play shortstop ever, unless Seager gets hurt and they have to move him. But I really was looking at it going, man, you start to get into that Javi Baez range. You start to get into that Tommy Edman range, the Willie Adames range, and it's like, okay, is Willie Adames better than Dansby Swanson? They're very similar guys. Like honestly, you could say Willie Adames might be a little bit better. You could say Swanson might be a little better, but like that's the range you're getting at with Dansby Swanson. That's why I'm not a huge Dansby Swanson guy, because you're getting into the range where it's like 1 year Dansby Swanson could be shortstop 18. The next year he could be shortstop 8.
But it's better than shortstop 30 or 31.
Oh, it absolutely is. But if I'm paying $25 million and he's shortstop 18, then we're in trouble. But at least I know if I'm paying Correa 30, 35 million, I know he's going to be in that top 3. Like
Yeah, you'd like to
everyone
hope
says,
so. Knowing the
I know,
Angels, you never
everyone
count on.
just said that Carlos Correa had a terrible year. Dude just had a 140 WRC plus. I would love to have a guy where we say, man, that guy was terrible this year.
Like Mike
Oh
Trout.
man, he had a 140 WRC plus. Like darn, that sucks.
Mike Trout did that. We'd be saying that. So,
Yeah.
I I agree. Like I said, you need to get better at shortstop. End of story. I think the Angels are going to figure that out real soon. Got anything else? Like I said, I mean, we still have so much to talk about. We might drop more podcasts here over the weekend and such like that. So we will see how it goes. I'm not going to lie here for you guys. So much more to cover. We got draft coverage. We got Rule 5, all that fun stuff. So Nate, any final thoughts before we let everybody go?
No, what a fun week, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Angels do to end this off season. I know we still got about a month and a half before the Angels have to really start to report, and honestly, it's not even going to be the Angels reporting. It's going to be all the minor league kids, because it looks like we've got about 10 to 12 guys trying to play on our WBC team. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a blast. More and more names coming out for that. Yeah, my final thought, just saw Jansen Junk throw 99 with the plyo ball. So you're welcome for that, guys. As always, thank you so much I'm stirring the pot here. Thank you so much for listening and watching this podcast here at Talking Halos. You can follow us on all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check us out on talkinghalos.com for new articles and any podcast interviews that you wanted to go check out. Go check it out there. You can follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Tims, Nate at NateGreen34, guys. And thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.